Hey everyone, welcome to Tent Talk, the Farmers Market podcast. This podcast is all about farmers markets, how to increase your market business success, and in our current climate, maximize safety while providing people with fresh food. Farmers markets are essential. Whether you're a farmers market manager or a small farmer or food maker selling at farmers markets, you have found just the right podcast. Our guest this week is Megan Harris, farmer and market manager for the downtown South Boston Farmers Market in Virginia, running a small rural market while also being a vendor and farmer herself. Hey everyone, I'm one of your hosts, Bridget Myers. I'm a longtime market manager, Vendor 101 co-teacher, and education coordinator at Farmers Market Pros.
And I'm Kat Fields-White, Director of San Diego Markets, still an active Farmers Market Manager, founder of Farmers Market Pros, and host of Intense, the Farmers Market Conference, and the Farmers Market Pros community.
And I'm Justine Marzoni-Mead, Tent Talk producer and marketing director for Farmers Market Pros.
Today's episode of Tent Talk, the Farmers Market podcast, is supported by Vendor 101. This online program helps prospective vendors decide if farmers market life will be the right one for them, saving market managers time in the application process and turning new vendors into superstars. Find more information or register at vendor-101.com or click the link at farmersmarketpros.com.
All right, welcome back to Tent Talk, everyone. Today we are speaking with Megan Harris, homesteader, vendor, and market manager about, of course, managing all the roles. Welcome, Megan.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. I've listened to y'all for so long.
I know, long-time listener, first-time guest. We're really excited to talk to you.
I feel like we've already been friends for like ever because I follow you on Instagram.
We're Instagram friends. It's really nice. Megan's been...
Instagram's funny like that if you do it right? Yeah. It's like such a relationship thing.
It really is. True. Yes, we were kind of commiserating when the pandemic first hit, and then Megan pointed me toward a place where I got my favorite shirt, and then I wore it on Instagram, and we were tagging people, and it was just a fun little Instagram moment. Now we're just best friend market managers across the country.
Yeah, that was really cool because like my friend, she's like YouTube famous now, that did that shirt. She lives like in Milton, North Carolina, and it's so small there, like blink and miss it type place. And I'm like, Meredith, you have a shirt like in California, really?
Hit the big time.
Yeah, and that's when, she was growing, but that's when she was like, that was like a super grow, I was like, man, that's so cool. I get excited when people like, okay, so I used to sell shirts, and I used to get excited if somebody from like Danville, like 45 minutes away, bought one of my shirts. I'm like, it's across the whole world, man.
Get it out there in the world. I'm going to get one of those shirts and take it to Europe next year. What do you think?
Yes.
Let's do it.
And we'll post a picture again on our Instagram of that Trust a Farmer shirt.
I think I'm visualizing a Trust a Farmer shirt booth at the next Intense conference.
What
love
do you think?
it.
Yes, we all need it. We all need it.
I want one that says Trust a Farmer's Market Manager. But I feel like at my market, I'm like, can you read this?
Darn straight.
Trust me.
We'd all buy those.
Yes.
Love it. Well, Megan, thank you so much for carving out some time in your very busy schedule to speak with us. We're just going to ask you all about how you manage all of the roles that you do. But could you just give us a little about your background? Like, how did you get into the farmers market industry?
Okay, so back in the day, which wasn't really that long ago, I moved to after I graduated from Virginia Tech. I moved to Carolina with my now husband Joe, and we grew a huge garden every year. And I had told him, like, we literally, this man, let me tell you, he won't grow a regular garden, okay? At the time, it was just me and my mother-in-law and him, and he has to like have 150 plants of everything. I mean, we would have so much overstock, and we would give it away and stuff. And I knew about the downtown South Boston Farmers Market, and I was like, man, I really want to try to go and sell stuff there. But y'all, I was scared to death. I was so terrified. I don't know what it was. And I grew up, this is a small town. I grew up there, and I was terrified to go. I got the number, I think, offline, and it sat written in a notebook in my car for probably 2 weeks before I even called it. But thankfully, when I did call it, it was the sweetest man on the other end, and his name was Ray Satterfield, and he was the president of the downtown South Boston Farmers Market. At the time, they really didn't have a market manager. It was just like president, vice president, whatnot. So he was the main one that ran it. And this dude just, went above and beyond to make me feel comfortable and told me exactly what time to get there, with where the best spots were. Because it's first come, first serve. It was insane. He was just, he went above and beyond for me, and I'll forever be thankful for him for that. Even after I talked to him, it was still a good month or two before I actually got up the courage to go. But once I started going, it was over with, man. I had a ball. I could really make friends with any tree that you could name. And I just had the best time. And at the time, I had quit another job and I was staying home because I was going to school to be a teacher. And I think I was pregnant. I might have been pregnant with Ryan, and I needed to get out of the house anyway. So it was the best outlet, get out of the house, get my million word quota in, just few conversations. It was just so much fun. And so I made a lot of friends, networked around, the next couple years. I wouldn't go every week. I would just go when we had a lot of overstock. So we plant a lot of corn, and if you say the word Silver Queen corn around here, these people start doing backflips. They will come in the market sideways. It's real dangerous. These little ladies in Buicks that can barely get out with their walkers will run you over, and they don't care, because that's the kind of corn that they like. And so we grew it every year. And so Joe would take that. He's got F-250. We would fill the entire bed up with corn. I would go to that market, get there at 6:30, and I would sell out before 8 o'clock. Wow. It was amazing. Girl, I had a Cabbage Patch in my pocket. I was like, girl, we got to do it tonight. Anyway, so, and then of course, having kids and stuff slowed me down a little bit, because to get there, and, it's first come, first serve, man, you better get there early, because at the time, it was a lot of older vendors, and these little old men, they get up and get their coffee and their Hardee's biscuit, and they over there at 6. I was outside with a flashlight, pulling beets at 4 in the morning. And I just, when I had started pregnant with my second kid, I was like, I don't know if I can do it, because it was hard. And I would take Ryan with me. I'd take a playpen or something and just put him in there. And when I had after I had Peyton, I had him in November. The next year, I was just like, y'all was going to have to come to the house and buy, because it's no way. And I think I would come if I had big overstock, but a lot of times we just sold from the house, or I would deliver it out or whatever in my car and whatnot. So, it kind of fizzled out, but I would still go and support them and be a customer. Well, 2019, it was November, my GA teacher at my church called my mama. This is small town stuff, right? Called my mama, was like, hey, I need to talk to Megan. And she was like, yeah, you can have her phone number. She said, well, give her my phone number, because she was had been a big vendor at the farmer's market for the past couple of years. And she told mama, we're kind of looking for a market manager, but we're not going to advertise. She said that they had a meeting, I guess with the board, because it's a board, and her and the town manager, Tamara Vest, was they were like, look, we know somebody that can do it. And it happened to be the same person. They both thought of me. Aww. Because, Tamara had known me from the market, and, Paige knew me growing up. So when I called Paige, I was out front of my mom and dad's house. The kids were in there with mama. And literally, it was no question of, yes, no. If it was when can I start? I will start tomorrow. I loved it, because I loved that place, and I thought so much of the people there. And so I started that January. I met with the board and stuff before that, just to seal the deal and all. And then I started in January, and it was exciting and so much fun. And then the pandemic hit, and I thought I was going to drown, but I didn't, and we survived.
Good job.
And we were really successful. We ended up getting like ABC 13 News and stuff came by twice. We got a lot of radio shout outs from like different places. The paper, of course, burned us up all the time. The paper kept us in there. My grandma, girl, I love my grandma so much. She's one reason that I'm so big in ag, but she lived over at the little nursing home, and she cut out and kept every single article my name was in.
Oh.
Like, she was just so proud, and I would go take her little tomatoes and stuff, and she just loved it. So she actually passed away. She passed away January the 13th or whatever. And I would have been like, manager for a year. But that was one thing that everybody that worked at the homes that she stayed in said. And that's like one of the things they would say is she always talked about me being manager. So that always made me proud.
What a great journey.
Yeah.
So,
I know. It's kind of funny because I went to college, I always knew that I wanted to do something in ag. Growing up, I always knew. I had a really amazing agriculture teacher in high school. Her name is Trina Vaughn. We're like best friends. She lives like 5 minutes from me. We ride horses together. And she really encouraged me to go out there and, get a degree in ag. So I went to Tech, got a degree in ag, and I always thought I want to be just like Trina and be a teacher. So, I did teach for like 3 years. I just recently resigned from teaching to better pursue the farmer's market and continue to go to the farmer's market, because after I got this job, it was like it clicked. It was like, this is your niche. This is what you're great at. Like, keep going. And I'm going to tell you, like, between having all three of these little goblins and the farm and the farmer's market, something had to give a little bit, and I wasn't giving that farmer's market up. There was just no way that I could give the farmer's market up. So,
well, it seems like you're a natural at it.
Yeah.
So, Megan, is your market year-round or are you seasonal?
So we are seasonal, but we are pushing more toward a year-round market. So just from last year to this year, I've got more and more vendors that are trying to come during that off season. So we're really growing to make that shift to year-round. And that's why I always encourage my vendors, especially the ones that are kind of out of the box, because traditionally, like, this is produce season. It starts now and then it ends in August, September here.
Oh, really? Is that all?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, and that's like for here, that's what people in their minds think. But I'm like,
gotcha.
listen, y'all, you can grow stuff all year round, just nobody has brought it here yet. So that's kind of what I encourage all my vendors to do. I'm like, y'all, as long as y'all want to sit here at this market, I will cheerlead and scream to the sunsets and heavens that you're here. So let's make it year round, because it's literally training your public
Absolutely.
to know that they're there,
Sure.
It gets a little tricky in the cooler seasons because we are an all outdoor market. But this is America and we got jackets. So we're cool. Like, and as long as you want to support your fellow local farmer, you can ride through that parking lot anytime you want to,
Right.
It's like encouragement. And I think that since we've been really holding a steady, consistent social media and, presence in the paper and stuff like that, I think that more people are discovering that we are open more, and they're really like hands-on going to support these vendors.
So what kind of vendors do you have? You said how many vendors do you have on an average?
So sometimes, depending on the season, we have at probably 8 to 25. We have a big event just about every month during our busiest seasons. And those big events can have a little more than 25 sometimes. It just depends. Most of my vendors are small farmers, local farmers, produce vendors. They have vegetables and different meats and eggs. I've got bakers that come and have breads. I've got people that have just plain white bread. Then I have this awesome vendor, Ben from Broad Shoulders Farms, makes these artisan loaves that look like they came out of a magazine. You know what I mean?
Nice.
It really adds more character to our market. But we've got candle makers and soap makers, and this lady makes aroma beads that makes my car not smell like Doritos and chicken nuggets.
We all need that.
We all need those. Yeah.
And we have like a lady that does vinyl crafts. Basically at our market, anything that you bring has to be 51% of your inventory has to be either homegrown or homemade. So we don't do any kind of like MLMs,
Right.
things like that. It's all got to be like you and your brand.
So on your produce vendors, are you mostly having folks that are making a living by farming, or are a lot of them like you and your husband where you're just kind of selling your overstock from really big gardens?
So I've got some vendors that have retired from other careers that are farming and making a profit off of it as well. Then I have a couple that do it for a living. One lady actually has her own produce stand that she runs during the week, and then she just comes to the market on the weekends and like maybe once during the week. And I've got one that's a full-time, farmer, like, or a few that are full-time, just that's where they sell their stuff, farmers. So a lot of it, if I had to look percentage wise, I mean, of course, over probably 60-70%, it's a part-time thing, but I do have some that do it full-time.
But that's what they're doing, yeah. And so I'm guessing that where you are in Virginia, that you don't have a big kind of regulatory situation. They don't have to be certified as a farmer to be in a farmer's market.
No, so we're like a nonprofit or whatever, and so we actually just got that little. I'm kind of excited because we just got official 501 whatever.
Oh, cool.
Anyway, so we're nonprofit and we have bylaws and stuff. But as far as certifications and stuff go, it's not a big.
Like the state doesn't require you to.
No, like so the health department. And like we have to go under VDAX and like the health department for a few different vendors. Like if we have vendors that want to cook on site, or for like food trucks and stuff like that, they'll have to get certain, permits and stuff. But most of it, like just people coming out to sell products, you usually they don't need any kind of paperwork really. A lot like the labeling, VDAX, I always send them to VDAX because they have a really nice PDF on labeling, like proper labeling. So if they do come out, their stuff does have the ingredients on it and their farm name and address, or their business and everything like that. But as for having to go do an application with the state or anything to be at our farmers market, you don't have to. At our farmers market, basically, you just pay the permit fee and you have an application and we just inspect, do farm visits and make sure that you're legit.
Oh, that's good. So you're doing your own kind of certification, verification that they're growing what they're selling.
Yes,
we
good. Are. And I do that too, because not only is it good, to make sure they're legit, but it's awesome for marketing because I can go out with like my Nikon and take awesome pictures and like market them on Facebook and stuff. Because like I always tell people, like, people really like your food, but they want to see, like, they want to know about you and you growing it. So I can get those pictures and it really helps people make that cool networking connection. And it ends up getting them more publicity and more money in their pockets.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah. And that's like what I'm all for.
Yeah, we like that. That's what farmers market managers need to concentrate on, making sure all those farmers and vendors make money. Do you take a percentage of what they sell, or do you charge a flat fee for your space, or how does that work?
So it's a flat fee. We have a day permit and a season permit. The day permit is $15 a month and the seasonal is $85. But if you have a day permit and say you end up coming so many days and it equals up to the 85, we just go ahead and give you a seasonal. So we're really laid back.
Yeah, that's all they can pay.
Yeah, they don't ever pay any more than 85.
So do you get paid as a manager?
Yes.
Are you paid hourly or?
Yeah, I get paid hourly, and I get paid. The farmers market pays me, and then the town helps.
Oh, that's good. Okay. I was going to say, so your stall fees are not, making you millions, obviously. So how do you pay the manager then? Does the city
the town
subsidize that? Yeah, they subsidize that just because it's such an asset to the community and kind of
and it brings a lot of people. Like, where our farmers market is right in downtown South Austin. So you can literally park next door in the big parking lot next to our outdoor market. And I mean, you can go there and then go shopping on the downtown strip. And by strip, I mean, it's not very far, but it's like a lot of good businesses. It's like 20 or so more businesses. And, you know, it just brings more people out, especially on Saturdays. They make it kind of like a thing, like a family thing. They're like, all right, everybody get in the stroller. We're going to pop downtown and back, you know. And there's restaurants and stuff too, so it's nice.
Well, so that's good. So one of the things that's advantageous about a farmer's market in any kind of city or town, if you get near the business district, is that it brings more people to those businesses. Do the businesses see it that way? Because I know most businesses react one of two ways. They're either really excited that you're bringing more people to their area, or they're complaining a little bit that that the folks in those tents are taking their business away,
or taking their parking,
or taking their parking,
or taking their parking.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty blessed. Like, our downtown really rally. They really rally for us, and they help a lot. And I think it's because they do know that it helps bring more business and more feet, you know, to downtown. And that's what we all want. It's a really great community because it's kind of they have a community over competition feel. And so they don't hesitate to help out. Like, if I need, you know, certain sponsorship or donations or something like for giveaways, they don't hesitate to say, hey, they don't hesitate to you know, give to the farmers market to help at all. So that's really, really, really nice. I think it's one of my favorite aspects of working with downtown, because one of my very scary first farmers market manager thingies was when we were talking about going and asking for donations, because I'm like terrified to ask people for like money. Like, I'm just terrified. I don't know why. I just am. And like, I feel like, just like, you know, they're small businesses and I want them to make money, and I would just rather buy stuff with the market, whatever, instead of, you know, asking for donations. And with them in town and stuff, they've been so come with us with open arms, like ask, you know, and I mean, it's no problem. So that was one of my biggest fears, and it got over with pretty quick.
Yeah.
Oh, good for you.
That can make a big difference, I think, if your neighboring businesses are supportive of you and you can work together, I think, to make it happen.
It makes
for sure.
it such a win-win for everybody so quickly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. How many customers do you think you see per week?
It all depends on whether it's a big event or not. But I think last year I actually had this cool clicker when we were doing the drive-through, and we would see anywhere from like 80 to 150.
Oh, that's good.
You know, each week. And those were vehicles. So I'm sure it was more people in the vehicles, but I would just say a vehicle per family. But yeah, I would probably say, you know, minimum like 50 to 150. Sorry.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in your town your size, you're getting a good percentage of folks that come out and support the market.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we get more and more. I can already tell this early in the season, we're still getting, you know, plenty.
So Megan, speaking of your drive-through, you guys transitioned to a drive-through market in March of last year when everything got shut down. Yeah. And then how did that go? I know that's when you and I connected, and you shared some of the news stories that came out and covered you guys, but how did that work? And then when did you guys transition back to in person? Like, how long did you do the drive-through?
So, you know, in Virginia at the time, farmers markets were not deemed essential here. So we couldn't open. And me and the board like kind of sat down at a meeting, and we were like, you know, like, what do we do? And you know, we talked and I think we have a text, like a group text, and we finally just said, hey, you know, our lot, we have 2 exits and an entrance, and it's a loop. And I was like, you know, our lot's perfect for a drive-through. And they were like, yeah. And, you know, the way it actually worked out is it was the perfect amount of space underneath the like where the shelter is, to park a vehicle and just set up like on a tailgate or whatever. And I was like, you know, that's what we need to do. I was like, let's let's do a drive-through market or whatever. And so we thought about it, and we made sure I talked to the president at the time, and then me both talked with the Virginia Farmers Market Association to make sure everything was cool, to make sure we had, everything going all right, because, the last thing you want is to get like shut down. Because we didn't want to have to worry about that. So we ended up talking to the vendors that were planning to come out that week, and we had to cancel. We had a 5K planned, and we had to cancel it. And we were like, okay, but we're still going to open. We're going to do the drive-through. And dude, I was so scared. The first week, it wasn't that much traffic, but I don't know what happened. But I do know what happened. They couldn't find eggs and bread at the grocery store.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I like the third week, it was traffic. Like the police had to come out because it was traffic, like wrapped all the way around the building. And it really went, it was wild because, this is my first like thing as a farmer's market manager, because that's like around March is like when we usually open. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is like, is this real life? We're like, and then that's when like ABC 13 like came out, and the newspapers were going crazy. Like another town next door, Lynchburg, was like shooting us stuff on the radio, like, and we were getting people from way off, like 2 and 3 hours away, to come and use this drive-through market. I had a lady that was baking bread, and she would do pre-orders, and she was baking anywhere from 20 to 30 loaves of bread and just cutting them off. Like that was her cutoff. And people were regular ordering. And she was like, dude, if I, fresh bread, that's all I can do in my kitchen for one, for a Saturday. And she was like, she was having to make bread like twice a week because people were coming to our house. So my farmers, not only were we successful in getting, our market back on the map, but my vendors were like, if one piece of produce was there, it was gone. Like, you better get there. Our market opens at 8. You better be there early to get that, produce, because people were just going nuts. I would print out a list the night before and have a bunch of copies. And what I would do is I had the vendors on one side, and that way that the traffic can kind of go on down and then come around and start seeing vendors. And I had my vendor table in the front of them, and I would like hand them the menu basically at the market. So when they got there, they could figure out what they wanted. And when they got to each table, they could, tell them and go as quick as possible. And it was still traffic just hanging out everywhere. People would get so upset because once they got in the lineup, there's no getting out, man. And they would be like, only a few of them would get a little frustrated, but most of it just went so well. Like, I could have never thought that would have been as successful as it was.
Yeah. What, like a service to the community. It sounds like everyone just really needed it because food supply chains were breaking down, and just having access to local farm stuff must have been like such a blessing. Yeah. I feel like to everybody out there.
And it was amazing because some people were like, oh, I didn't even know y'all were open this time of year. And I was like, we're open this time every year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they didn't even, they didn't know. And this year, we reopened for the season. We kind of talked about, hey, do we want to bring that back? Because not only was it good for, at the time during the pandemic, but it was great for like the shut-ins, like the elderly that really don't get out that much. They were able to get in their car, or, had trouble getting around. They were able to get in their car and get what they wanted and still see people and communicate. And it was so good for them. And you could tell they really lit up being able to do that and come out. And, we have it to where if, somebody needs assistance, we can go help and whatever they need. But that was just so easy. I guess it was easy, and then they didn't feel like they were a burden type deal.
Yeah. Sounds like a great idea all around. So how long did you end up doing the drive-through? How long was it before you transitioned back to your in-person?
Let me think. I can't hardly remember because it went so fast. I'm feeling like it was May that they lifted the order to where we could have people again. Now, it was under crazy restrictions, even though we were outdoor, but, you know, we could have people again. And that's when we were having more vendors. So it just worked out a lot better because, you know, getting people in and out of the market. And we did get some backlash from some people because they wanted to park their car and get out. And we would have to say, no, you got to stay in your car. And the world caught on fire or something. And they would get so mad. But so, you know, that helped. We would still tell people they could use it, but I think May is when it fizzled a little bit because we have our grand opening every year in June, and by June we had a normal grand opening, or not, you know, restricted but normal.
Yeah. Well, because your governor, too, at that point was being pretty proactive about identifying farmers markets as essential and giving you guidelines. Are you a member of the Virginia Farmers Market Association? Did you get help from them?
Yes. So throughout my management career, they and Kim, I'm really close with them, really close. Like, I would not hesitate to reach out via social media, via email, to any of them. I did a lot of trainings, like the COVID trainings and stuff. They always have really good like resources for you to use. I'm actually really excited because right now they have a market manager certification program, and I'm about to graduate.
Oh, good. Awesome.
Yeah, so I'll be like official, you know, and it's so helpful. But you know, it's super duper helpful. It's a really good program, and all of it's so relevant. You know, anything that's relevant is, you know, helped a ton. But I think when I first started becoming a manager, I Googled, of course, and I used all the resources from like the Virginia Farmers Market Association, from like a coalition that we're a member of. And I'm trying to think, I would go to like the other farmers markets around. I would see what they were doing, kind of network out. And then I came across y'all. So the reason I came across y'all is because I Googled, and you know, when you're a mom, I don't think I've read a book in like 20 years, I feel like now, because you can't read because people don't ever be quiet for you to read. And
that's true.
I found y'all because I started listening to kind of like podcasts, and I was like, I wonder if there's a farmers market podcast. So I like literally Googled it like in the whatever Apple podcast, and y'all were like the first one to come up. And I was like, well, this is legit. I mean, it was perfect. And that's when my husband had just, I had just gotten like, I think an Explorer or something. So it was awesome because it went right through my radio. And I was like, oh, heck yeah, now I can like drive and, you know, learn at the same time.
There you go.
Perfect.
So helpful.
We try to make it easy.
Helpful.
I'm so glad to hear you say that you're about to graduate from that market manager certification because, you know, working with national groups, a lot of times people will say, well, only the really big markets are going to be interested in certification. Everybody else is just volunteers, or they're just kind of doing it on the side. They're not going to be interested in being educated. And I think the smaller farmers markets, I mean, it's almost more important that you get that education and that you get those tips, because you've got big challenges that larger markets don't have in terms of making the vendor relations work and figuring out your fees and insurance and all that stuff.
Yeah, no, and it's so there. I mean, like I said, everything is just so relevant, and it's so nice to be able to do. And I'm very hands-on. I'm a very hands-on learner, and when I learn something that I can go ahead and take and use, I mean, it's amazing. And I'm all about continuing. I can't even speak. My cat is looking at me in the window. It's really distracting. There's a cat in my window. And if I let her in, no, she will be, no. Her name is Tramp Kitty. And she has 4 kittens. Go, your babies are in the barn, go. I'm just gonna.
She wants to be a part of this with us.
This is what I have to deal with. This is what I do. It's like the Funny Farm. If you want to, like, it's the Discovery Channel mixed with Comedy Central around here. 1 minute something's giving birth, the next minute it's like stand-up comedy, like constantly. So I don't know what we're talking about. Certification. So no, things like that help me because, like I said, this is my passion, and after teaching and after getting some experience in the market community and then finally becoming a manager, this is my niche. Like, this is what God put me here for. Like, you know what I mean? I can tell. And so all I want to do is learn and get better, because I will never, ever act like that I know everything, because I don't. And I take all the help I can get and all the constructive criticism, anything that will help me make my market better, I'm going to do. And anything that I can do to help, make and help somebody else, especially like my vendors. I work really one-on-one with my vendors to help make sure they're successful. Because, the ultimate goal for my vendors is I want them to leave with a big fat smile and a big fat pocket full of money.
Darn
you know
straight.
what I mean? Like,
because then they keep coming back.
Yeah. So they keep coming back. So the community keeps coming back, because I really want the community to know that, farmers markets are an asset and a huge piece to the whole food puzzle. We are important. We feed communities, and saying that you feed somebody is insane. Like, you nourish them so they can live, So it's so important to support these local places and these people, because you're not only supporting the farmers market, they're supporting me and my family, because I get paid to run it. They're supporting all my farmers' families, my vendors' families, and they're helping bring healthy food to their table. So it's just a win-win all the way around.
Yeah, it's like a chain reaction,
Yeah.
Start out with the market, going all the way through. Well,
I mean, we had a question on this outline that says, how do you balance all your roles?
We've seen it.
Vendor and farmer and market manager and mom. But I think we've just sort of seen that during this conversation live. I know our listeners aren't on the Zoom, but if you could watch this woman juggling small children and business and cats in the window, it's really amazing.
Well, I appreciate it. It's one of those things. I mean, I will never lie and say it's easy, because I take Zoloft for a reason, but 100% is definitely worth it. Like, I would not trade it for the world, and it all just worked out beautifully. And I feel like that I'm doing the right. That's why it's so easy, I guess, for me sometimes, because I love doing it. Especially anything ag related is my jam and always has been. And I guess to really finally break down where I'm supposed to be in the big sector of agriculture, it's just like fireworks and unicorns, man. I love it.
It's amazing. We have those little pins that we give out that say our job is weird, that we give to farmers market managers, and it's because it's such an odd combination of things that you do, but if you do it well and you love it, you really love it. I just, you can't imagine doing anything else.
Yeah, I could never imagine. I mean, I'm telling you, it's like the funnest. It's stressful, but sometimes, but it's just so much fun. Like, the fun and the networking and the seeing the peoples are just amazing.
Yeah.
You have the passion for it, I think. So.
Absolutely. We can tell. You're going to be a great market manager for a long time.
Yes.
I told them they're going to have to run me away with a switch.
No, I think they want to keep you.
Yeah.
If I were the board there in the city, I think I'd want to keep you forever. So just get your kids up and running the market when you're ready to retire.
There you
go. Keep it going.
Hey, he comes with me. This littlest one comes with me every week, and he has since he was 2 weeks old.
Wow.
He was born on a Sunday, or he would have been 1 week old at the market.
Wow.
30 years from now, we'll have the little guy on the podcast. He'll be saying, you know what? I was a farmer's market manager from the day I was born.
Yes, dude. And he's so personable. He sits in his little wagon and smiles.
Well, we can't wait to have him on.
Yeah. That's right.
Have him let us know when he's ready. Yes. Well, Megan, it was really good to talk to you. We love, I love keeping in touch with you and seeing all the cool stuff you're up to. And you have your YouTube stuff that you're doing now. And I love just watching you on social media, because I know that you're really passionate about running your market and also helping individual vendors and farmers kind of on a granular level, which is really important, obviously, to us. That's what we do as well. And I just love that, other market managers are taking that and kind of taking that role seriously and helping and kind of bringing all that together. So
Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, it's really awesome to talk to you.
Well, thank you for inviting me. Like, it was, or I don't even know if I might have invited myself, but but thank you for allowing me to be on it. Because, like I said, like, I've been fangirling for a while, and to finally get to like see y'all and meet y'all and talk to y'all has been like amazing. Like, I've wanted to do this for so long, and I love my passion for farmers markets, and I love to see everybody else's passion for them too. So it's really nice to be able to finally talk to y'all when I've like literally listened to the podcast and felt y'all's passion every week.
That's great.
That's great
Yeah,
to
we're
hear.
just reciprocated.
Great
So
team.
nice to
Yep.
hear.
Yeah.
So when your local paper runs a little article about you being on Tent Talk, you clip that out and mail it to us.
Clip it
Yeah,
out
send
for
us a
us.
clipping.
Oh, I definitely will.
All right, well, we'll keep in touch, and thanks so much for being with us today, and goodbye to baby Truett. So cute.
All right. Well, thank
for
y'all so
helping.
much for having me. I really appreciate it. Y'all have a great sunny day.
All
You too.
right, yeah. Hopefully you too.
Thank you for listening to Tent Talk today. And big thanks to Vendor 101, helping vendors succeed from the start and making farmers market success easier for everyone. Market managers who want to partner with Vendor 101 to make their application process easier, email us at connect@farmersmarketpros.com.
Farmers markets are all about community, and all of us, operators, farmers, and vendors, keep learning. Connect with people just like you from various parts of the country and share what's happening in your area in the terrific conversations over in our private Facebook group, the Farmers Market Pros Community. Please find us there, answer the 3 qualifying questions, and join the group. You can also message us on Instagram at Farmers Market Pros or email us at connect@farmersmarketpros.com. Thanks for listening to Tent Talk. Please leave us a review on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you access your podcast, and tell us and others how you're enjoying Tent Talk. If you are listening on YouTube, give us that thumbs up. And be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss the next episode. Tent Talk, the Farmers Market podcast, is proudly produced by Farmers Market Pros, where passion meets profit. Today's episode was recorded and edited by Justine Marzoni Mead. Original music by David Mead. Thank you so much for listening today, and we will have another great episode next week, so tune in.